You have a road, you have an address. Something's happening. And then the second box is wider, another 8 or 9 feet. We haven't even started and it already feels like starting to play that kind of tally game. We finally carved in the driveway and I'm super happy with it. So we cleared roughly like a 12-foot kind of winding trail that'll take you down. We settled on crushed asphalt. We might end up doing a different kind of topper, like a decomposed granite, or we'll find out, but I'm actually super pleased with the crushed asphalt. I like the look, so maybe we'll just kind of do a finishing touch of this at the end after all the concrete trucks go through and kind of tear it up. Because mostly we do this first so all the delivery trucks don't get stuck in the mud. But I'm just kind of blown away. I think the more it comes together, it's starting to look somewhat like I envisioned it. This kind of beautiful tall trees, kind of a few of them are kind of isolated. You'll see some of these pines. The whole vision of putting this idea like stuck out in the woods was that you feel kind of separated from the real world. And so when you come across something that looks maybe a little otherworldly, or you're a little bit more convinced that you're in this kind of wonder world, versus it being, I got a lot of feedback of like, why don't you put it in town? Like where it's more accessible. And I think there's a reason why Disney does, you know, it's isolated. You drive for a couple miles. I obviously don't have that much land, but for a couple miles before you arrive on the park, and then you're in this kind of, they're controlling your experience. And so even though I only have 2 acres, try to do something that at least tries to accomplish the same feeling. It's happening. It feels, it's weird. Every step just feels like it like opens up another layer of, oh yeah, here we go. Like this is, it's real. Like everything's in your head. Everything's just an idea. Everything's just a what if, oh, this would be cool if or when. And then even when you go like get the project backed and sign some papers, it still is like nothing's materializing yet. And I'll show you, but we like brought in a bunch of dirt and cleared an area and it felt like progress, but officially having like a road is like, you have a road, you have an address, something's happening. There was a big pine like right here, and it was making the drive a little too tight to go around. And the big delivery trucks couldn't make that bend, so we had to clear out a little extra area. And I was so hell-bent on, no, I want the permanent driveway to still go to the right of this last pine to kind of control the reveal. And so I thought this had so much to do with it. But it's crazy, you drop the tree, and all of a sudden it feels way different, where now I kind of like this, either or, you know, I don't know if we'll end up keeping this to the right or doing it straight, but you clear a little bit of airspace with like one tree, and everything starts to feel like the balance is different, which is really fun, but it's like this ever evolving thing you're trying to figure out, trying to put your finger on. Not sure where I want the exact drive way to I know where the drive coming in ends up, but like where they park. I'm thinking kind of here to straight in front of these trees, and like kind of almost be an L, like something will kind of stick out here to the right. So you kind of park with your nose straight and then can back out kind of into this area to come out. But we don't have to decide that yet till probably the end. It's just trucks coming in, but we have all this space to use, but then one of the like defining factors or elements of the design is that it's very, we'll talk a lot about this, but it's very left leaning, meaning the two cereal boxes are like staggering to the left, and the patio, the spilled milk, is wrapping around the left side of the building. That's where the front door is. Go further, that's where the back door is. Almost all of the windows come out the left side of the building. And so we had to kind of center it in the property in a way that makes sense. And so I'm thinking if the parking is kind of here also on the left side, when you see it, you walk up, it kind of feels natural that you're already on the correct side of the building, versus parking out here to the right. But we get to decide that later, and we have enough decisions that need to be made now that will ignore the shape of the parking lot for now. Okay, this had to come in on I don't know what they call it. It's a version of a forklift. I think they call it like a piggyback, or I don't know what they call it. And I don't know what that is, 15 feet wide, but you saw part of the drive in is not 15 feet. So they had to like back up to every tree and try to pivot around the tree with this wide load. They should have, I know, it's tight. Some way of putting it on a trailer and just driving it now that the road's carved out would have made sense. But at one point they got stuck. They just dropped the lumber down, tied it to the back of the forklift, and just drug it up the hill. And then once they got to the top of the hill, they like picked it back up. The guy was not having a good day, and I was out here with my camera documenting, and I could tell I was like trying to look like I wasn't filming him. Slash was like, I'm here to do my job, you're here to do your job, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. It was basically doing 6-point turns, which you can see from the tire marks around every tree. It took probably, no exaggeration, 2 hours for it to get a couple hundred yards back here. But I feel like they kind of bent up some of this rebar, but that's all right. I guess they can hammer it out. Like all of this is just mud slung, which doesn't matter, I guess. It's just for concrete forms. I don't know why I thought it would be bigger, but our building's kind of small. This pad is not quite big enough for, I don't think. I could be like way off, but for the building and the patio, I want the building to pretty much go like the front corner to favor this side of the pad. Because obviously they make the pad slightly bigger than your actual structure. But because the patio is on the left side of the building, we need to start the front corner like here. So the front like box, I don't know what it is, roughly 20 feet, will probably be like somewhere around here. And so we need room for like little 10-foot, it swells, the patio does, concrete. But to that side of the building, which looks like we'll have enough room so far as we anchor or hug, favor that side of the pad. It's sweet. It's like the box will come here, the corner, then it jets back like roughly 10 feet. So the front door is here. And then the second box is wider, another 8 or 9 feet out to like here. This is like the side of the second box. To like here. So this is where it starts to get tight, to this like big, beautiful pine that the patio will just naturally need to get a little narrower here. We'll need to add some red select, some of this dirt. Fill that in for when we pour the concrete for the patio. But I wanted to keep this tree if I could. I just think it's so cool for a sense of size. You'll see it in the drone shots, I guess. But yeah, so then this is kind of roughly the second box line, somewhere around here. I think it's a little longer. It probably comes all the way to here. So that's all. This is like the cereal bar. That's like the kitchenette. There's a staircase right here that goes upstairs to the loft in the front box, in the first box, cereal box, which will be the red cereal box. Front one's red, the back one's going to be blue, primarily. And then down this back stretch is essentially the pretty large bathroom, little utility, and like the staircase that like bends here and goes back up. But this back patio is going to be where we have the cereal bowl, foam pit. We'll have a table, maybe a built-in grill. It's crazy. It's crazy. When it's like these little projects and question marks that you have to tackle constantly. How do you want this driveway to bend? Where do you want the pad to be? Where centered on the pad? What shape do you want the parking space to be? What kind of material do you want the driveway? And it's familiar to a lot of people that have built and done projects before, but all of those have costs too, right? They're all, okay, that material is this price, so it'll be more than your budget. Or, hey, if you use the crushed asphalt, maybe you save on your budget and you can put that towards the windows you want. Or we haven't even started and it already feels like starting to play that kind of tally game, which is part of the fun. I think this is the goal. The goal is the enjoyment of building and crafting and trying to be creative with the decisions and like bring something to life is the whole project. It's never the end. The milestone is not when it's done, it will be so nice. It's like, no, this is the fun part. This is the journey. This is the product and the project. When it's done, it's almost, the project's over. Yes, people get to enjoy it. Hopefully some of you will come stay here and experience either the magic or the disaster that we've crafted here in the woods. But I try to stay aware that this is the fun part. This is why you're doing it, is the coming out and just standing on dirt and being like, okay, this feels good. This needs to change. Sometimes it feels consuming. It feels like, you got to compromise. You got to maybe make an undesirable choice based on your means or based on time frame or whatever requirements are at hand. But so far, 1.5 thumbs up. This is like the second time I've ever shot it. It's recording right now, so you're in it. Consider it done.